You're the go-getter. So everybody comes to you when they need to get things done. So when you are walking through what you are experiencing, no one ever notices that. Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Hood. I'm glad I get the chance to see you again, and I'm wondering if you're anything like me. You're the action-oriented individual that knows how to get the job done. Everybody comes to you because they know when they give whatever the task is, you will complete it. It doesn't matter if you're operating from a personal perspective or a professional perspective. You are the one that will make certain things happen. So when you are walking through your moments of chaos, no one notices because you do things so well. And if you did what I did, because you did not want to deal with the chaos that you were walking through, you decided to pour everything that you had into that goal, that task, that activity that you were doing. So when you built it, so no one noticed your pain. No one noticed how hurt you were because you still pressed on. No one noticed that you were slowly dying inside because on the outside, you have still been giving the amazing work that you were doing because you chose to focus your attention there instead of the chaos that was happening in your world. But when you finish that activity, when you finish building that business, when you finish doing that thing that you do, what you have been running from will still be there waiting for you. You will have to decide how you're going to function moving forward. It's not easy, but it's doable. Because the same things that made you a courageous leader, the individual that everybody goes to, is the same skill set that you can use that can get you to the other side. So today, I want to help you walk through what you can do when relationships break down because everybody handles them differently. But the action-oriented person that you are, oh, you will handle it in such a way that people won't even know that you're walking through it, but you still need support. So here's the first thing I want you to know. First, give yourself the grace and space to know that things can be broken in one part of your life and you still be a superstar in another part. Because sometimes you often will hear that how you do one thing is how you do everything. That is so far from the truth, it often makes me laugh. But if you find yourself in breakdown in one area, think of what you have to do to start paying attention. If there are pillars that are in your world that you can focus on, then it'll give you a better idea of what parts of your life you got to start putting some pieces back together in. So the four pillars that I use to help me refocus what's going on with me personally, I use a simple acronym to help me remember that yes, I am a superstar. Yes, I am action-oriented. Yes, I am the individual that people can still go to get things done. But some parts of my world, I need to pause and rest. Rest is an acronym for a framework that I typically use with my clients. R stands for relationship. When we're having relational breakdowns, we don't often focus on those, especially if you're the action-oriented person that is the go-getter in an entrepreneur or professional setting. So rest lets you know that if there's a relational breakdown, you can segment elements of that and begin to move into a better direction of how to heal it. And there's steps. I walk through that. Not to be in a different episode because this is no way possible. I can walk through all of that today. But the next area that you have is emotional. When we have emotional breakdowns, it can affect our relational elements. And we don't pay attention to the fact that relationships, oh, we are in relationship with everything around us, people, places, and things. And if you're having a relational breakdown, it does affect you emotionally. So sometimes people interchange the two. But I want you to know that they are separate and can be managed separately because you can fix your emotional warfare and still have a relational breakdown. So I don't want you to think that if you have one area prepared, then the other one still isn't fixed, that you are not functioning. Because see, the action-oriented element in your being will give you the thought process that if this isn't working, then something else is still not working, even though I'm doing all of these things. No, 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 no. What you do naturally, being courageous in your efforts and your action, being determined to move through the process, it helps you be purposeful. It is there that we'll focus being purposeful with our emotional moments, realizing that there are multiple layers because relationships are multifaceted. So you'll have to function in a multifaceted area to get that resolved. But on an emotional level, you can segment that off in some part. So here's more to the word rest. S. The S stands for spiritual. The thing that helped get me off the bathroom floor of my two-bedroom apartment when I found myself in the middle of chaos. When I went to work every single day, no one knew that I was going through a divorce. No one knew that I was emotionally ravaged inside. No one knew because I held on to the little remnants of what I had in place, and spiritually is where I began to rebuild. A lot of you know that I have what I call the religious roller coaster ride. I've been a Mormon, a Scientologist, an Egyptologist, a Baptist, a Buddhist, a Lutheran, Catholic. I've gone through the gamut of it all, only to discover that it was never about religion. The thing that will help you get into a better position is having a spiritual concept that God is relational. And when I took that spiritual concept of God being relational and focused on my spirituality, my relationships got better as I got better with God. My relationships got more whole as I got more whole with God. My relationships were more impacted by my getting healed because of my spiritual relationship getting healed. It was there that I was able to move to the last letter, T, tangible. Those tangible things are the things that's happening in your environment, where you live, what you wear, what you drive, those tangible elements. Yeah, see, the divorce left me broke as well as broken. My ex made more money than I did, so financially I was broke. That left me also in a position where I was nearly homeless. So I did not have what I thought I would have, those tangible things that help you feel like you're a little more secure. No. When those things are misplaced, it often leaves you in a position where you feel like you're stumbling through the process. But I want you to know that if you work on these four pillars, which is how I usually teach them, relational, emotional, spiritual, and tangible, you can rest in knowing that you will be okay. So now that you have the strategy to rest, let me move on to the second thing I want to share with you today. The next thing I want you to know, being the action-oriented person that you are, recognize that some of us do our best work when we are focused on a task and not trying to pay any attention to the pain and the chaos that we are walking through. When you choose to build whatever you're building, even if it takes you years later, and you get to that place where this thing is done, you will find yourself in a position with the what's next. And if you have not been real proactive, because one of the strategies that we have as being action-oriented individuals is moving into the next thing. If you cannot move into the next thing or be purposeful in how you're going to function when whatever the task is done, you'll find yourself right back where you were. So in the aftermath of my divorce, the thing that I thought, because I rebuilt myself, I had gone through my rest period. Relationally, I thought I was a lot better because I did not have the breakdown in the middle of Safeway like I once did, because I ran across something that I bought for him, recognizing I would no longer do that. I'd gone through the emotional resetting because I no longer had the crying myself to sleep at night modes. And spiritually, I was girded up. So I knew Jesus was joining me on the journey. And tangibly, I had found myself in a position where I purchased a new house. I had my car fully paid off. Oh, yeah. I thought I was doing it all because I had also rebuilt a business that I allowed to languish while I was married. It took years of walking through that journey. The $35,000 worth of debt that left me financially hostage, clear that up in 2 years. Getting that home and resetting those moments That total 4 years. So at the end of the 4-year journey, I am now beyond what I considered the chaos of my divorce. I felt like I was healed. I felt like I was whole, but all I did was delay. I delayed the inevitable because I focused on building the business. I focused on clearing up the debt. I focused on all of the other things, but I never took the time to focus on what got me there to begin with. You see, my divorce, yeah, it was painful, but it dredged up past hurts, past pains, past issues that the ex had nothing to do with. I never resolved those when I first encountered them. And when he dredged them back up, I blamed him for them. But I had to stop and be honest. You see, you got to be honest with yourself if you are not honest with anybody else on the planet. I had to be honest with the fact that, Tanya, you never dealt with this. When your ex told you that you were ugly, in your mind, it was something that was sort of similar to your past when people made you think that the brown skin that you were in was not enough. Because in my family, we had the beautiful, what my grandmother called the blue, black, beautiful. Oh, that rich, deep darkness as the hue of your skin with the kiss of the sun just sprinkling all over your chocolate wonder. I have none of that. Not none of that. And then in other parts of my family, you had the light. The lighter you are, the brighter you are, the better you are. I wasn't that either. So where did I sit in my childhood with my in-between? Didn't always feel good. So when my ex decided to highlight what was already a pain that I had buried down beneath me, that I was not enough, I believed him. Because it wasn't the first time that somebody told me something about me, making me believe that I was not enough. I didn't deal with it then. And when I found myself 4 years in the aftermath of my divorce, I had to go back and be honest with Tanya and say, you never dealt with it then. And he just took those emotions, brought them out of the basement of your soul and sat them on full display in the living room of your heart. So everybody got the chance to see your brokenness. So you poured yourself inside of your business to rebuild. And now that it's built, now that it's done, now that you're on what people call the success path, inside, you still feel the pain. Inside, you still feel the hurt. Inside, you have not healed. You simply delayed what you had to do. So this is what I would love for you to do now. Write out a letter. Write yourself a love letter telling you that you forgive you for the things that you did not do for you. Because if you had to do it for somebody else, it would have been done by now. But you never did it for you. You poured your action-oriented skill set into making certain that everybody else was okay. Today, I want you to be determined to make certain that you are fine, just as much as you were determined that everything else was fine. So write yourself a love letter, apologizing for what you did not do. Because you may not have known better. But my grandmother would often say sometimes when you know better, do better. So now that you know better, let's do a little bit better. You now know that you are powerful. Write that down so that you can remember. And it does not mean that if you walked into a moment where you were fearful, that you were still not powerful on the other end, because you can be courageous and fearful at the exact same time. You can have faith and doubt at the exact same time. What you cannot do at the exact same time is move forward and stay still. So you chose to move forward because it was something tangible that you knew that you could do. So you chose to move forward because it was something that your action-oriented heart and soul could see take place. You chose to move forward. And now it is time to stand still. So I want to encourage you today. Stand still and deal with the mess from the past so that it does not adversely impact your future. Stand still because you're strong enough to handle it now, because you've got some things that you can actually see that have separated you from that chaos that you were in, the business that you built, the goal that you have achieved, the task that you know you've already got victory over. You have something that you can see that will let you know that you are still amazing, that you are still brilliant. And that time in your life, oh, this is just a moment we just got to work through it. But that love letter to you, that love letter to you will purge your soul. That love letter to you will give you insight on the pieces that you chose not to look at. So take your time with this. And I want you to know you may have to write multiple letters. And if you have to write multiple letters, and some of the things in those letters you don't want anybody else to see, those of you that know me know. I had a grill in my backyard. I did nothing on that grill, y'all, but burn the chaos from my soul. So if you have to burn the letters that you write to yourself where you're healing out the chaos, healing out the mess, because some things that some of us have gone through, nobody in the world needs to see it, but you need to deal with it. So write it out. And then when you're done writing that, reset the love letter. Reset the love letter to let you know that you are okay. Reset the love letter to let you know that you are fine. Reset. Because there are moments in our life that we must reset in order to move into a better direction. He looked at me like I was crazy, but I knew what I had to do. It was time for him to go. So I packed up his things. Red alert. Is he the one? The pocket guide, the find and love of your life, tells my story. The free chapter is available for you in the link below. So for today, if you don't remember anything else I shared, here's the one thing I want you to know. You are action-oriented. You're determined. You're powerful. You're strong. That is who you are. So stand in it in all the other areas of your life while you need to rest to get to a better position. Know that it's okay and you can get through this. If anything that I've shared has resonated with you, then it is time for you to reset. And if you want someone to join you on the journey, feel free to go to my website, tanyaehood.com. There you can click under the Work With Me tab and see the various ways that we can work with one another. And if you are on YouTube, you can join me live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can continue the conversation or we can start a new one. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.